At the beginning of the movie, we see Jack the Ripper's quote, "Someday posterity will say that it was I who gave birth to the 20th century." The action is set in London in 1888. In a rather poor neighborhood, everything breathes gloom. There are shouts, the noise of wagons. Drunken men jostle in corners, bickering with their wives. There are a lot of courtesans working in a place like this. One of them, named Mary Kelly, decides to walk along the street in search of a client. Turning down an alleyway, the girl is confronted by a man. He sharply pushes her against the wall when McQueen appears nearby. He warns that by Monday the girls working on the street must bring him money as payment for protection. The next day, Mary chats with her friend Anne. She used to work on the street too, but has now found herself a rich man named Albert, and asks to look after her daughter for the evening, as the man she loves is returning to her from France. Mary and the other girls regretfully refuse, as they need to work hard to save up £4 of protection pay, and promises to take this money from Albert if they will babysit her daughter. Meanwhile, on Cleveland Street, a coachman named Netley is attacked. A man named Ben informs him that their ward has returned to London earlier than they had hoped and needs to be well met and quietly driven home. Albert is having fun at home with his lady lover when people unexpectedly burst into his room. Ben, a member of the special service, orders that things be scattered and that Anne and her man be taken downstairs. A frightened Mary holds a baby in her arms as she watches her friend being put into a carriage against her will. Another girl friend named Martha is frightened by what is happening. Ben interrogates Anne about Albert, but the girl swears she knows nothing. Late at night, Mary says goodbye to her friend to take Anne's baby to her parents. The girls agree to meet at a tavern. Martha begins to be followed by an unknown man. Suddenly, he grabs the girl, and only silver metal flashes in the air. Meanwhile, Inspector Fred Eberline falls into a trance, sitting in a Chinese institution for the consumption of special smoke. The hero has a dream about some crime that took place in a disadvantaged neighborhood. Sergeant Peter Godley comes for Fred. Soon the hero comes to his senses and returns to reality. Godley recounts a case that requires the psychic powers of Fred, who is able to see details of a crime in his dreams. A man brings the hero to the morgue and shows him Martha. Fred is sure he saw another girl in his dream, but he is horrified to find that the victim has had what she did for a living removed. Meanwhile, Dr. Farrell performs an operation on and that is supposedly supposed to rid her of her insanity. This experience is observed by a number of people, among them Sir William Gall. The street girls discuss in the pub the misfortune that happened to Anne and then to Martha. Everyone is nervous about the money they owe McQueen. One of the girls, named Polly, asks them not to panic and urges them to work harder. However, when Polly picks up a client's money, she is attacked by McQueen. She is only saved from a sad end by the appearance of a constable. The friends comfort the crying Polly. One of them even kisses her. The girl finds this nasty and runs away. A little later, Polly finds herself in the carriage of a mysterious stranger who treats her to drinks and food. The man stuns her and then destroys her on a deserted street, disfiguring Polly in a similar fashion to Martha. Having finished his business, the Ripper disappears. In the morning, Fred examines the girl, realizing that she is the one he saw in his vision. The hero guesses that her massacre was probably done in a covered carriage and then brought and left in the street. Together with Godley, he takes Polly to the doctors, who become ill from what was done to her. Fred notices that the criminal is not like the others. He is characterized by a kind of methodicalness. By the twig of grapes, the hero guesses that the criminal is rich and most likely has a medical education. At home, Fred once again falls into an altered state and sees his beloved lady. The hero tries to talk to Martha's friends after the funeral, but everyone, even Mary, refuses. In the evening, the girl still suggests that her friends go to the inspector to tell how Anne was kidnapped. Suddenly, everyone is chased out of the room, and the girls decide to work. Meanwhile, the Ripper has dinner, adds laudanum to his glass, which was also used by Fred, and is about to go out hunting. Netley appears beside Annie and tells her that a gentleman has taken a great fancy to her, who has ordered him to send for her. As persuasion, the fellow offers the girl a taste of grapes, and this convinces her. In the end, Annie also falls into the clutches of the Ripper. The next morning, Fred again finds the girl, whom he has already seen in a dream. The hero realizes that tragedies are a kind of ritual and puts coins on Annie's eyes so that her soul finds peace. Despite the resistance of his superior Varen, Fred decides to seek help from a surgeon. Farrell refuses to help the hero, but William Gall, a former surgeon who can now only lecture, is called in. The man examines the data of the police doctor, and according to Fred, guesses that he uses laudanum. William prescribes the hero something that can eliminate the symptoms of addiction. In addition, the man confirms Fred's fears. The Ripper knows human anatomy very well, so look for him among people who have received a good education. Later, William meets with the Queen and discusses with her the condition of her grandson. The man tells her that the grandson has a slight tremor in his right hand, which greatly disturbs his mind. Fred continues to investigate and believes that the Ripper is laying out his victims so that a star appears on the map. The criminal himself has a conversation with Netley, who is very nervous and wants to give up his job. Fred meets Mary and has a conversation with her. The girl tells about what happened to her friend, and Godley thinks that this is very suspicious, as the description of the people looks like members of the Special Branch. Fred decides on a dangerous act and tricks his way into Ben's house, after which he explores the archives. Fred manages to find information about Crook, and Godley helps him to hide. Together with Mary, the hero visits the workhouse. Fred manages to convince the guard to let him in to see Anne. However, the girl cannot speak coherently and fantasizes that she is a queen. The hero promises Mary that he will later help find Anne's daughter Elise, but now it is important for him to continue the investigation. Fred reveals that his wife passed away about 2 years ago during childbirth. Together with Mary, he goes to an art gallery. Unexpectedly, the girl sees Albert, Anne's husband, in the portrait. He turns out to be a prince and heir to the throne. Fred pays a visit to Sir William, despite Dr. Farrell's protests. The man understands where the hero got his suspicions that it is Albert who is the Ripper. However, William divulges the secret. The prince is seriously ill because of his infatuation with courtesans and physically cannot commit such crimes. Ben makes his way to a secret Masonic lodge and watches Farrell being accepted into the fraternity. Fred becomes increasingly protective of Mary, and he arrests McQueen's men. After that, the hero visits the girl and asks her to hide somewhere with her friend for 3 days. When Mary mentions that she has no money, Fred gives it to her without hesitation and names the place where they should meet after a while. Being touched, the girl tries to kiss him. When the hero pulls away, Mary gets angry, saying that she did it out of pure motives, and is about to leave. However, Fred stops her with a kiss. Mary rents a room for herself and her friends. Liz brings along a girl whom she has managed to treat to dinner. However, at the last moment, the guest suddenly stops and smiles. Furious Liz does not listen to her friends and goes out of the house to drink. Fred guesses that all of Anne's friends are in danger, as they have seen the prince's marriage and may be witnesses against him. Suddenly, Liz is confronted by the Ripper, but the Ripper doesn't manage to fully finish his job. Another of Mary's friends, who went out to look for Liz, also loses her life. Fred wanders the streets, trying to find more clues. The hero is caught by men from the Special Branch. They threaten that unless Fred finds a scapegoat for the case, he will soon disappear. The Ripper leaves an inscription on the wall of the house about Jews. Fred considers it evidence, but his boss demands that it be erased so as not to bring trouble on that nationality. In addition, the hero is removed from the investigation. At night, with the help of laudanum, Fred again falls into a trance and sees the brutal massacre of Mary. After a while, the girl receives a message from the hero, while he himself studies in the library everything about the Freemasons. Later, Fred decides to visit Sir William. Mary quarrels with her friend Liz and asks her not to go out anymore, even for food. The girl's house is being watched closely by Netley. Fred has a conversation with a man about how the Ripper is clearly a Freemason. The hero guesses that it was William who took revenge on the courtesans for infecting the heir to the throne, whom he was supposed to protect. Fred is going to destroy him, but he is prevented by Ben, who unexpectedly arrives. William goes hunting, leaving the hero to Farrell and Ben. However, Fred manages to deal with both of them, using his strength and courage. The hero is rescued and hurries to Mary's house. Meanwhile, William opens the door and prepares to carry out the last execution of the traitor who deprived the prince of hope for life and rule. Through a hole in the glass, the Ripper enters the room and sees the sleeping girl. William imagines that he is in a lecture and speculates about the human heart, its structure and features. The man imagines that he has received recognition of his talents because of this work. Fred rushes to Mary, hoping that he will be able to save her in time. However, the hero reaches the place when Godley arrives. Fred quarrels with his boss and guesses that he also belongs to the Masons. The man restores the hero to his position, but warns that he will be closely watched. Suddenly, the hero notices that the girl on the bed has brown hair. Visiting Mary's familiar place, he receives a note from the bartender. Fred reads that the girl decided to take Elise and return to her village. In addition, Mary invites the hero to visit them at any convenient time. Meanwhile, Sir William, instead of a reward, becomes convicted by the Freemasons, and a special operation is carried out over him. Godley notices that the hero has been taken off surveillance and advises him to go to Mary. However, Fred realizes that for the safety of the girl, he must stay. Soon the hero visits his favorite place. In a vision, Fred sees Mary, who is raising Elise in a cozy house. Godley tries to wake him up, but realizes that the hero has left this world forever. The man puts 2 coins on Fred's eyes, realizing that his friend was ready to go to the other world. This is the end of the movie. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this movie, and see you in new videos.